there's this idea that the universe is here to give you lessons, but it's not. It's it's really not. You're just really here to have an experience, which ultimately is for fun. Because you are everything. You are God, so you might as well pretend you're not and just get a kick out of it. It's just a trip, right? So rather than trying to artificially figure out what the lesson I'm trying to learn here and move on because you're resisting your current situation, what I've realized is it's actually all just the feeling that you're trying to feel. Because every experience boils down to a feeling. And if you haven't felt that feeling enough, like if you haven't fully gotten off on that feeling, it doesn't matter if you intellectually figure it out. If you haven't felt the feeling enough, then that experience hasn't expired, it hasn't been used up. And it's like you're trying to fill your vessel with experiences and ultimately feelings. And if a certain feeling, it's like imagine you're playing one of those like like Age of Empires or StarCraft strategy games where it's like, how in the games there's this fog of war where wherever your character is, you can sort of see like the area around you, and wherever you go towards, you sort of see more and more of the area. If you walk around the whole map, you get the whole map, right? Essentially, your soul is just trying to explore the entire map. But if you're like resisting going down a certain direction because it makes you feel bad and you're like, oh, that's the lesson I'm trying to learn, okay, I get the lesson, but you don't actually walk down and feel the feelings, then the same circumstances will keep coming back into your life that will trigger the same feelings. And it's not until you've actually allowed yourself to fully feel the feeling, whether it's fear or anger or joy or sadness, whatever it is, that particular flavor of feeling that you're trying to feel, once you've fully felt it, then you basically clear the capsule. Like you fill up the capsule, like in Monsters Inc., right? How they fill up the capsules with fear, right? But you have capsules of every emotion, and essentially you're just trying to fill up the capsules. So don't bypass feeling your feelings because you're afraid to, and you justify avoiding them with some sort of spiritual bullshit. It's like, no, at the end of the day, that's the most important real thing. It's the feel. So we've heard of the term spiritual bypassing, but there's also, I would say, material bypassing. It's all the same shit. Essentially, with spiritual bypassing is like you're not actually, like, let's say, feeling your feelings and doing what's true to you, and instead you're like just throwing yourself into like all of these like healing practices, but it's just like another distraction away from yourself, right? But because it's spiritual, people justify it as like somehow it's better than other things. But on the same token, material bypassing is also bypassing, where that's on the other side of the spectrum, and they're trying really hard and they're out there, they're hustling and they're getting shit done, but they might also just be using that as another distraction to not feel their feelings. And neither is better than the other. So how do you stop bypassing your feelings and yourself? well, you well, you gotta feel your feelings, essentially. Don't just go do another tarot reading or go to another retreat or fucking, I don't know, make more money and just work extra hard and run away from yourself. It's like, stop doing things. Just stop. Feel your feelings. Sit, lie down, let it just let yourself sink into the bottom of the ocean and let the feelings take you up to the surface. And when it's up to the surface, it will boil and you will express them. And when you do, that's when you come back to yourself. That's when you come back to God. And in that state, you'll natively find intuitive impulses to do things. Like you'll feel what you actually want to do from that state on, rather than running away from your feelings and just like, like an ADD child. You're just like, oh, let's do the fucking, let's do that, let's do the Reiki, let's do ayahuasca, let's fuck bitches and get money, whatever it is. You will actually find things that sit truthfully in your heart, and your soul, and your inner child, in your God state. And when you do those things, I find that's when you really flourish into all you can be. Anything away from that, again, I think, is just a distraction. It's another bypass.